Euphoria Telecom opened its doors in May 2010, and the reason was to solve a problem. One of the co-founders and myself had numerous issues with the incumbent. It was long-term contracts, it was high call costs, it was very weak service, and we wanted to change that. We wanted to bring an international class business phone system to the SME in South Africa. We are super proud that we came from one customer to over 4,000 customers today, and there's no sign of the growth slowing down. And the original term is PABX, and it's Private Automatic Branch Exchange. That's what it means, and what it means is that it's owned by a private company. It's not being run by an incumbent or a parastatal, so you're managing it. And branch exchange just means it's your office and it is exchanging calls. For the SME, whether that's a 3-user business or a 50-user business, they don't have accounts departments, HR departments, finance departments, tech departments. The business owner runs around doing almost everything. So you have to build the product, automating and simplifying it to the nth degree to make it really easy for this business owner to run it. He might be a hairdresser, he might be an accountant, and he might be a IT service-based company, right? So you need to simplify it to the absolute maximum. And what happens once you solve the problems at that level, what happens is you start getting inquiries from medium-sized companies, and they have more complex problems. But you've solved all the little minor ones too. So now you reiterate on top of that, and you solve for medium-sized companies on top of solving all the small problems. And then you start solving problems for large companies, and then you start solving problems for listed companies. And then you start solving problems for internationally branched companies, which is the space we're moving into. But that has been the growth. And we can still service a 3-user business, or we can service a 10,000 user business. When we were founding the company, we considered what we didn't want to do. And what we didn't want to do was the typical South African thing at the time, was promise you the world through advertising. And yet, when you read the fine print, you found, oh, that's where they're getting me. We didn't want to do that. What you see is what you get. And one of the things we thought could prove that is by having a 30-day contract, because we don't need to tie you in, because you're not going to want to leave. The problem with a 2-year, 3-year, 5-year contract is that as soon as you've signed that, unfortunately human nature kicks in, and your service provider who's meant to provide you service suddenly doesn't have the same motivation to help you as he did if you were on a 30-day. The best thing is that it gives control to the business owner. Gives him control over the system. He can make changes himself. He's not waiting in a queue or sending a ticket to get something done. He logs on and does it. Just like you do with internet banking, you log on and make a payment. You don't have to go to the bank or speak to anybody. It empowers you. It gives you control over your costs, or it gives you insight into your employees' productivity as well. That makes it true cloud. So it's very elastic. In other words, you can pay for and use for as much of the system as you need to. If you're a 3-user business, you can get the system for 195 Rand a month, and you're competing with a system that could cost you 30 to 40,000 Rand to install. And you can use software-based telephones on your mobile or in your browser or as an application. So that's your total charge. It's extremely powerful. As you grow, you have more money, you want to use more complex features, you can then upgrade the system, and you'll be paying 500 Rand a month, but you'll be utilizing the efficiencies of the system, saving you on the operational requirements or human requirements that you need to manage the same amount of productivity. A lot of people might consider cost as the #1 priority, but it's not, because the cost of not having a phone system running will cost your business tens and tens or hundreds of thousands rands more than having it running. So first of all, you need service for when things go wrong, and you need service to know how to use the system effectively for your business, because it can streamline, it can improve operational efficiencies, it can do a lot for you, but you need service to be able to help you achieve those goals. So the product is built and developed in South Africa around our customers' needs. It's a customer-centric product. We didn't just develop things we thought people needed, we developed things that we found out that people actually did need and did improve their lives. It's easy to use, easy to understand, useful reporting that is, again, easy to look at, easy to understand. You don't need to be an engineer to interpret them. You can be anybody and you can make sense of them and make decisions for your business based on them. Control the system gives you is phenomenal, not only over making changes to the system, but control over the costs and expenditure. You can have a budget on an extension. There's an example there. We saved one educational institution. They went from using the incumbent system with no control at 81,000 Rand a month to using our system with control. They now spend 17,000 Rand a month. Our employees and our shareholders and myself, we all know that the person who is paying the bill is the customer. Without them, we're not needed, and without them, we don't have a role and we don't have a place and we don't have a purpose. So if you can understand that dynamic and filter it through, you suddenly have a perspective of people who treat the customers amazingly well.